Oh, hello to all of you. Hello. It is a new moon portal. Actually, technically, this moment that we're meeting is right before the new moon, which is excellent because that's going to allow us to like gather our thoughts and get all our intentions in order for when the portal is exact. Which, if my brain is serving me, by the way, you should always double check things that I say in these videos because I go back later and I'm like, yeah, no, we didn't, that wasn't correct. Just the exact timings of things. Other than that, this shit is always bang on. Gotta tell you. Um, but um, the new moon is exact at 11 p.m. Eastern time. That was the last thing I read, so that's just what's in my brain. 11 p.m. Eastern time on Monday, May 26th. So if you're not in the North American or aligned time zones, then this new moon is, it's later. It's in the morning on the 27th, actually, when it's exact. So what are we in then? We're in the lead up. We're in the darkest of the darkety dark moon. And you might really feel in your body some type of way in the energy of the dark moon because it calls you to rest and it calls you towards introspectiveness. And so you might be like, why do I feel fatigued? Especially because it's spring, almost summer. It's less than a month to, well, no, what's today? Yeah, yeah. It's less than a month to the summer solstice, about 3 weeks to the summer solstice. So, oh, yeah, this is pretty young energy. At this time, we're getting a lot of sunlight. We're getting that galvanized energy. Oh, and this is the new moon. This is the one for the planting of the seeds. Like literally, if you haven't planted your garden, no problem. Today, this new moon, this is your new moon. Right here, put some, but it's just gone. Stick the seeds in the soil. You don't even need starters anymore. You just stick them right into the soil. This is new moon in Rohini Nakshatra, the moon's favorite wife of all 27 wives. And this is beauty. This is abundance. This is Venus. This is the domain of Taurus, Vrishava. And I'm dropping all the cards. It's a very beautiful moon. It's really, it's like a moon of beauty. Like that's what this moon is all about. So we'll get into some of that. I was looking ahead actually about, oh wow, I was looking ahead about just upcoming conjunctions. The last time we had a moon circle, we were talking about all these upcoming new transits, a new Jupiter transit and a new transit of the nodes. So there are two ways in Jyotish to measure the nodal transits. I do not know the difference between the two, but the true node system and the mean node system. So in the true node system, um, this change was May 18th. The nodes changed signs. And in the mean node system, it's May 29th. So if you didn't want to pick May 18th as a time for incredible radical change in your chart and in the cosmos, in the collective, that's fine because then it's May 29th. So we're settling into a new vibe. Mercury has also moved on. I said last time that Mercury was probably in Taurus. Actually, Mercury was in Aries at that time. But Mercury's going to move on because Mercury is a fast moving planet. And the scene that we have set now, we've got Venus about to come into Aries. And when that happens in just a couple of days, I think that is the 29th of May when that happens. There's some other movements that are happening. We just said the south node of the moon, Ketu, just moved into sidereal Leo, which is ruled by the sun. So right away, we've got Venus in Aries, you know. very fiery place ruled by Mars. Fire, fire, fire. And so this astrology coming up in June, like, let us enjoy the beauty and like the moistness of this new moon. Because June, y'all, and pretty much July also is fire gone wild. And there's always a lot of caution for us personally, in our households, and if only the people who hold political power right now would also show caution and restraint. But that's not, I mean, a tiger is not going to change the stripes at this point in time. This stuff, all this stuff is in momentum. And so I do think because of a real increase of fiery influence in June and July, yes, there will be collective issue around fighting, already the ongoing conflicts that we have, and a senselessness or headless behavior. Oh, it's a ripe combination for trouble. Also for like fun. Depending on how much trouble you like in your fun, right? But if you're one of those archetypes, you might have a really, really fun summer, you know? And then also, like, we could tune into the spiritual level, that this is, it's all conjunctions and indications for, sorry, I had to yawn. It's like psychic adjustment. And there might be a few more of this. For divine love, the connection, like open conduits to divine love. So, summer of bhakti, summer of agitation, and then whenever we are talking about these conjunctions, I haven't named the elephant in the room, like, who's causing all this trouble? Yeah, also Mars is in the mix. So Mars is going to be coming into sidereal Leo, meeting up with Ketu and having a trinal conjunction with Venus. So as one of the astrologers I follow described it, you've got the lover, the fighter, and the ghost. Ketu's the ghost. Right, so cutting off or disillusionment, liberation, and then also headless activity, which we don't like so much. Like that headless activity causes accidents and problems and causes you like unnecessary karmas, headless activity. So summer of love coming up, that's a lot. And then we've got this sweet moon, and this moon is an excellent moon for setting intentions. So here we are, really cusp of summer. You know, our next new moon cycle, we will very much be in summer. So like, let's pause on all the drama and just dip into this new moon. What do you want to cultivate this summer? That's all very interesting. What do you want to cultivate this summer? Just like pause and ask yourself that question. Like, you know, we always think of summer as an action time and a doing time, but it's a growing time. Like literally, you're going to plant the seed, and then the sun and the warmth and the moisture and the nutrients in the water are going to grow food. We're going to harvest that food later, and we're going to have lots of celebrations around those harvests. I just pulled some cards just to even tap into this new moon energy, and I had to pull more cards because I was like, "What does this mean?" And I almost threw it back into the mix to pull cards again, and I was like, "Come on, you can do it." So I pulled I said, "Show me the new moon," and I pulled the Son of Swords. And we were just having a little pregame chat before we got on here and hit record. And this, what we were talking about is, so I'm right now, I'm hanging out in the lands of many Americans' ancestors, Italia. I'm in Roma at the moment, and very beautiful. The food is way too good. Yes, and all the things. Um, and we were talking about, this place and its significance in history as the birth of the empire fantasy, you know, and this is going to be the empire that then set everybody else on empire building to this day through 2 bloody world wars and whatever the hell we're going to describe this moment right now, which doesn't fit the same mold as the 2 prior world wars, but it aligns with so many other aspects of, for example, the early aggression that we saw in World War II, early genocides, concentration work camps, but also the building of systems of extermination. Like, it's looking like a duck, and quacking like a duck. So do we really need to finish the statement? I mean, come on. But will it repeat like it did before? That I don't know. We're on a little tangent here, but it's because of this guy. So the Son of Swords in the Mother Piece tarot deck, so these are the former knights, the suit of knights. And what this fellow in particular has done is he's the son of Aphrodite. And once upon a time, he held great status as her son consort. I can't remember his name. He's a Greek god character, And he has turned his back on the mother and is accepting the new patriarchal, which actually in this Greek context would have been your whole Zeus thing, which is now like non-consensual sex and the new procreation model. So this fellow represents a type of ego, so an expression of the ego that turns its back on intuition, feeling, and sensation. And so then I said, okay, cards, what's a resource that's going to help us move that energy? Like, if this is also an energy at this moment of fertility, okay, so that means that like this new moon in Rohini Nakshatra is an extremely fertile moment. Literally, Rohini represents fertility. Literally. And but this isn't fertility in the feminine context, meaning divine feminine context. So the first card I pulled as a resource to help was the High Priestess reversed. Oh, so it's not, and she's literally like the menstruating queen, priestess. Oh, so the fertility concept that's being put forward is a masculine fertility. And then I was like, oh, well, that's reversed. What's our resource or understanding to move us back towards alignment with this intuitive feminine principle? And that was the Shaman of Cups. And what's depicted here is the Palace of Knossos on Crete. So there's just this whole like great goddess storyline that's going here, and this is the research project that I'm doing right now. So it's all just come alive. But this is the images. So I have been on pilgrimage to the Palace of Knossos, and um, those dolphins and things that you see in the background, you can still see that painted on the walls. And then they took one wall. It's UNESCO World Heritage Site, so how they do reconstruction and stuff, it's limited. But there was one wall that they like repainted the ancient painting on the wall. It looked terrible. So I was like, oh, good. I'm glad they stopped them there. Let's just see the ancient stuff. We don't need to see what this looks like now. But who this shaman is, because this is the king suit, right? So that means we need to work with this masculine summer yang energy, right? So don't think man woman or even patriarchy matriarchy at this point in time, meaning like who rules and who has power. Just we're actually not tapped into that. This is more about energies within you and what you will be called to in the yang energy of summer, like this. So who this shaman is, she is just a lady in your village whose level of badassery is next level. And when she needed to come down to the Palace of Knossos, she would come down and she would work with the elements and do her alchemies and do her ceremony and do her offerings as she is depicted here. And they wore these kind of white masks when they would do these offerings. This is the island of Crete. This is one of the centers of the ancient practice of the great goddess, like this. So how we're going to move this energy apparently is doing our rituals, inviting in the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine principles into our rituals, and doing a harmonizing of the elements and the inner alchemy. Now, what I just said earlier, what the planets are about to do, like what's going to be some of our major conjunctions of influence, it's going to send the fire really hot. So this is like, yeah, hot gal summer, but not the one that's like fun. It could be fun though, actually. Like if you like dangerous fun, if you're somebody that has that kind of like, your type of fun is dangerous, you're going to have lots of opportunities for dangerous fun. It's not really a good idea, but it is what's going to be flowing. So let's tune into this moon a little bit more before I talk about these exceptionally fiery influences. And what we're going to have to do is work with the fire. So she's making fire offering. Well, there's a fire under the cauldron. Like we're going to need to make fires and do fire ceremonies and ignite the fire within and do like Agni Sarakriya, just not like too much. And I think we can always look to water as a balancing, immersing in water. But you're gonna have to appease this fire. I know I said we're gonna go into the moon, and then I just kept going with this fire thing. Like the Thrafika, candle gazing, Kundalini, the real one. We're going to need to be into these kind of practices because the fire will need to transmute within. Martial arts, Because if not, this fire will express as fighting, harsh words, dangerous acts with the body, just putting the body in danger. And then other indicators, kind of things around electricity and fire. So we always have to be more cautious at these times. It's like 2 months of caution around violence, fighting, road rage, fires, electrical, just like double check the stoves actually turned off, like double check the cords, like 2 months, all of June and all of July. Oh yeah, so we will absolutely have to be on it. You know, I mean, I saw images yesterday of Kilauea erupting, like hugely. Yes, the volcanic activity, seismic activity. It's going to be hot gal summer for sure. And the gal is Mother Earth. Yeah. So it's going to be popping off. Okay, for real, I'm going to pause this time because I want to read to you about Rohini. That's why we're like trying to tune into this moon right now and like this ego expression. Because when the heat comes up, when summer comes up, you know what else comes up? Your ego. Okay, here we go. So I'm reading from Beva Bihari's Myths and Symbols of Vedic Astrology. So from ancient times, the asterism Rohini has been clothed in many mysterious myths and stories. The advent of the divine force is preceded by preparations which remain hidden and obscure. Only when the appropriate time comes are these supporting angels brought to light. Such preparation requires many behind-the-scenes activities. Rohini represents this kind of cosmic preparation. For the purpose, it is assigned the symbol of a chariot as well as other characteristics. Rohini is a constellation of 5 stars, some of the most beautiful in the sky, including the bright red giant Aldebaran Alpha Taurus. It covers a major portion of the sign of Taurus, ruled by Venus, which represents creative potential of the cosmic being. The asterism itself is owned by the moon. Its primary motivation is moksha, liberation. Its basic attribute is rajas, with tamas as a secondary and rajas as a tertiary level. Okay, so it's a place of activity. The deity of the asterism is Brahma or Prajapati, the creator of the universe, who unfolds the cosmic plan given to him by the higher gods in this storytelling. The Atharva Veda refers to Rohini as the consort of Rohit, the ruddy sun. The Puranas mention Rohini as one of the main daughters of Daksha Prajapati, who, along with her other sisters, was married to the moon. In connection with the birth of Lord Krishna, so Lord Krishna is born under Rohini. Rohini is described as a foster mother of Balarama, Krishna's elder brother. These indicate the same preservative principle in the cosmos, which requires careful preparation before any important evolutionary influx takes place. The relationship between Rohini and Rohit is mentioned in poetic terms. Rohit, with whom Rohini consorts, is eulogized as the producer of heaven and earth. He is such a powerful deity that he makes the heaven and the earth firm. By him, the heavenly light is established, and by him, the firmament is sustained. By him, space and the atmosphere are measured, and through him, the gods attain immortality. So this is, I'm just pausing here, this is very much the Vedic view, you know, and Vedism, Sanatan Dharma, as influenced by the Aryans, is totally allegiant to sky god, a patriarchal view, like this whole thing. So if we're situating this in the time evolution, it's 3,000 before the common era and onwards. This is a masculine principle brought all of creation into being. When we're just crossing that Rubicon a little bit earlier, definitely a very fertile mother brought it all into being. Just because it's hard for me to read this, you know. Okay, he is red in color and associated with the sun. Thus, he represents the very life force which gives form to the entire manifestation, which concretizes it, making it measurable. Being red in color, he stands for the circulation of blood through which vitality is maintained. Okay. Associated with this mighty creative power, Rohini shows the quality of great creativity. Yeah, we could have probably just skipped all that other stuff. Rohini, being the mistress of the universal life force, represents the inherent condition which enables creative forces to fructify. So, like, whatever is this magical thing that happens to the seed that science still does not understand? What is this thing that happens when the seed goes into soil and water, and then something catalyzes, wakes up inside of it, and then it produces its sprout, and then it will push through the earth to reach for the sun? And they can't explain it. They cannot explain it yet. Yeah. So that's the inherent condition which enables creative forces to fructify. She is the feminine center of attraction towards which the active male is drawn for reproduction. It is through this asterism that the fruits of one's actions are realized. That is why this is your moon of setting intentions. What's your intentions for this summer? That's different from like, what do you want to accomplish? Summer's always like this accomplishment time. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That's deeper. Let's see if we can like flesh that out more. This is suggested by the hymn, which states that through all her wealth can be conquered. Like, through her, all wealth can be conquered. All victory is won. Very appropriately, the Vedic seers considered Rohini as a channel for connecting with the cosmic energy. If it is mobilized suitably, it can satisfy all human aspirations. Rohini operates at the supramental level of consciousness beyond all rationality of the logical mind. Through Rohini flows the transcendental consciousness of the world manifestation. The reference to Rohini to the birth of Krishna is full of implications relating to the arousal of cosmic awareness represented by Krishna. Balarama, whom Kritika fosters, stands for the power of great delight. His mother is Devaki, which means the daughter of God. His father, Vasudeva, the Lord of celestial light. Balarama is their 7th child, and Krishna is their 8th. Before birth, Balarama was transferred to the womb of Rohini to save him from the wrath of Kamsa, the demon king who tried to slay all the children of Vasudeva. I'm going to just skip over this. We got this whole thing about Krishna and Balarama and Rohini and the foster mother and all the thing and the divine energy for the benefit of the world. Okay. The story of the infatuation of the moon with Rohini gives greater detail. I think this is really more the story to pay attention to about Rohini. The Puranic story describes the stage in cosmogenesis at which the Kumaras, the youthful yogi ascetics, refused to enter into the creation for which purpose they were manifest. Thereupon, Brahma, the creator, produced the 10 Prajapatis, the cosmic progenitors, for this purpose, of which Daksha was one. He fathered 60 daughters, of which 27 became the asterisms married to the moon. The moon is the nourisher of the earth and is primarily concerned with the mind principle in man, in human. Rohini was very attractive and the moon became infatuated with her. This aroused jealousy amongst her sisters. They complained to Brahma, and in return, he cursed the moon, who thereby became sick. On realizing what they had done to their husband, they felt sorry for him and once again pleaded to the creator to forgive him. But such a curse, once pronounced, could not be taken back. It was, however, softened by making the moon gradually lose his splendor, after which he could gradually regain it. So the phases of the moon. Spiritual illumination requires close association with the mind principle in order to operate on earth. The conditions under which this relationship can be established are given in this myth. Such illumination is a divine gift, the child of the cosmic patriarch, so to say. It must be united with the moon representing the mind principle for the furtherance of the divine will. But in this operation, if the individual becomes possessive and begins pursuing the objects of the senses to the detriment of his other faculties, he is caught in the tidal waves of growth and decay. This is the status of the moon after being cursed by Brahma for his infatuation with Rohini. That was myth time. Okay. The mind principle in man can discharge its obligations correctly and escape the swing of pleasure and pain only with the utmost equilibrium. Personal indulgence, which is likely to be accentuated in association with Rohini because of its supreme brilliance, may lead the individual to shed their divine glory and become entangled in the fluctuations of time, the cycle of karma and repeated birth and death. Rohini is that attraction which compels the divinity in human to lose its pristine memory and become immersed in worldly gratification. In this process, it aids the creative impulse in manifestation. Rohini is a powerful procreative force. It attracts the divine energy towards the world of manifestation. It is by activating the divine energy and directing it towards matter that Rohini involves the individual in sensory pleasures and inevitably causes suffering as its consequence. Astrologically, the symbol assigned to Rohini is a chariot, place of action. It is a means of transportation for royalty, especially on the battlefields. Swift and dignified movement is its special feature. It is led by horses which stand for virility and divine kinetic energy. Rohini functions to transport the universal life force, which is essentially regal and dignified in nature, protecting it as its initial stages until it reaches the time when it is strong enough to meet its adversaries. It's another womb space, just following the Kritikas. These are the various allurements of the outer existence. Rohini leads the soul into the mundane world with all its pleasures, attachments, and drunkenness. It is an asterism which directs the individual towards the physical world of illusion with all its comforts and luxuries. Under Rohini, the mind principle in human, represented by the moon, is in a state of exaltation and is able to experience the newness of its ventures. It immerses the individual in worldly involvements, but like Balarama, even while indulging in intoxicating situations and bending the world to its whims and fantasies, Balarama finally helped his younger brother to unfold his divine mission. In Sanskrit, Rohini means a girl having her first menstruation, just like, again, this beautiful menstruating priestess here. It is only after attaining this stage that she is able to bear children. Okay. Rohini, in fact, represents that cosmic stage which enables the human soul to become ready for creative manifestation, intention setting. It is the acme of creative potential. It is the asterism which leads to symbolic relationship with those who are complementary with oneself and in union with whom there are the possibilities of receiving some greater experience. Acting on the lower levels, Rohini brings about a deeper involvement in sexual relationships, often going beyond traditional social mores, induced by strong impulses and in a state of intoxication. Whatever Rohini does, it imparts a sense of mission, and there is the feeling that one's action will have important repercussion. I definitely need to look into the author of that book. I'm pretty sure they were educated in like a Christian missionary school or something, because their views are always so conservative towards sex. And he's definitely not a tantrika, that's for sure. He's not into the naturality of life, and like that sex and artistry and aesthetics are just simply a part of that. Intoxication can also be a method to liberation, right? It's just really about how we apply all the alchemies. So we've got lots of choices and options here in terms of how we want to galvanize with these energies. conservatism is always wise in the sense of don't burn the candle at both ends. But this is where we are planting the seeds for, of course, this next 30-day cycle, but also as we move into the whole of the summer. This is your chance to be cool-headed. There's really just a couple days left here in this month. You got about a week, and then these really very fiery conjunctions are going to come into play. We've got fire, super fire, and then like some earthy Venus vibes in there as well. So it's really about you looking at your own natal chart and seeing where Leo is in your chart. That is where Ketu and Mars will be having their 2-month-long conjunction. And that's a lot. That's a lot of fire. Mars is fire and Ketu is super fire. Yeah. And then we have 1 month in there, pretty much from, I think, May 29th to end of June, is Venus is in the mix due to the trines. Let us also remember that Leo is a sign that's ruled by the sun. So that means that, hang on, more fire, okay? So all of the fire that could possibly manifest in all of the tattvas, in all of the graha tattvas, all of the planetary elemental alignments, it's all showing up. Every last drop of it. Venus is in Aries, so you're getting this Mars Venus exchange. It's like also a Parivartana yoga in there because Venus is in the Mars ruled sign. Oh no, just kidding. It's not a Parivartana. Sorry, it's not. And because Mars is in the Sun ruled sign, so it's about to blow hot, y'all. And you're gonna have to work with the fire. So it's not just gonna be about keep your cool, don't speak out, passive. That's not, those aren't going to be the remedies this time. You're going to have to alchemically work with the fire. So somebody like me, like I literally have an exalted sun in Aries, so like, pow, and I have a natal Saturn in Leo. This whole party, I'm about to get like, I don't even know what's coming up. Like I could feel into it, just by, the indicators of Saturn and what the government and this and that. It's just gonna be like a fire tornado happening in my fourth house, actually, where Leo sit. And so how am I going to work with that if those are themes of like mother, home, comfort, happiness, investments like cars, vehicles, like buying a home, buying a vehicle, kind of thing. And so I know that that's what that house is. And then you got Leo in there, the fiery place, and this freaking firestorm is about to show up there, on top of my natal Saturn. So Saturn's chilling out in Pisces, is gonna get all a little hot, a little agitated. Hopefully Pisces will help keep the Saturn down, but it's gonna add wind to the whole mix. And so what am I gonna do with that wind? I could act out. I act a fool. I could do headless things. I could fight, against it, or I can use all this energy to find my code of happiness. And I can reach for divine love. That will probably be, for me, the safest tactic. Would be like fire alchemy practices, directing all the passionate energy towards a new definition of happiness for me, and reaching for divine love. But let's say divine love showed up in another human that crossed my path. Well, because Ketu is in the mix, that disillusionment, things can appear one way and very quickly leave. It can be like very passionate and then like that. So, I mean, I'm not saying no to summer fling. Like, summer fling is fun, and both eyes open. maybe all three eyes open, like this. So we can go a little bit deeper into the layers of like the signs that they're in, who rules them, the houses where things are landing, what are those correspondences of the houses, and then these planetary parties that come together. Ah, yeah, so I just am walking you through, an example of my chart and how I could, without any of this planetary transit knowledge, could very easily get swept up in the literal heat of the moment, like that. So wherever this is landing in your chart, and if you also have natal planets in that house, wherever Leo is, then you can craft your own storytelling like this. Oh, on the collective level, we're just in something. I mean, we're in a grand reset, but we're not going to know that until a couple decades later, and we can look back and be like, oh, it was resetting. And so much of that initiation of that reset starts in late 2019. We're associating it with the events of COVID. COVID was a product, a byproduct of the beginning of this reset. 10, 12-year reset, probably 12 years. And it still feels real weird to act like shit is normal. To act like tens of thousands of people genocided in Palestine is just an everyday thing we're going to keep living with and saying, oh, it's not okay, and are powerless to do anything about it as everyday average citizens. And so many other aspects of that storytelling of like systems that are breaking down. Well, they're breaking down because they're being deprived of resources to be built up. And the systems that are being invested in are whatever systems can make wealthy people extremely wealthy. So I pulled a card. I was like, what's this? Like, we're in the reset. Like, give us a view. When we get the Four of Cups, right? It's what we're doing in this moment is keeping ourselves contained. In this case, our emotions, our feelings. So we have to keep working with our feelings and emotions, expressing them, and in the alchemy of movement. Remember, we are water. So we got to keep moving the fascia, moving this body and lubricant. Don't let the inflammatory markers like hang out in your knees, and your hips. Like everyday movement, fluid movement, literally like drinking water, which is a privilege. Purifying, bathing, misting, about Florida, like blessed mists and things like this. So we be in the containment, moving with the feelings, because if we don't move with these feelings, we might drown under them. The weight of genocide and powerlessness can succumb you, can suffocate you with water, can drown you, and so there's a movement, there's a dynamism, there's a fluidity, but it's this four. We have to continue to create inner stability. And I know that means sometimes some people are going to need to retreat. They're going to need to take these steps back and have rejuvenative time, and that feels highly privileged right now. Guess what? It is. Guess what? You still need to do it. Right? And so in some ways, we're in the middle of a big collective process but to see this process through to the end. You're not gonna make your contribution if you succumb while we're still in this, like, we're like in the ark out at sea, nobody's seen land for a while kind of vibe. We got to stay the course. So when the heat shows up, we might see protests because there's other stuff going on. There's Rahu in Aquarius, that's the masses. Rahu's just getting settled in there too. That's the masses and protests and social protests, and Saturn is now getting rather comfortable over there in Pisces. And that also has to do with like advancement and technological advancements. What is Rahu in Aquarius? So there's things that are agitating in other directions as well. The masses might show up this summer. It might be real rowdy. You're going to have to ask yourself, like, is it my role to be there? If it is, then you need to know the ways that you keep yourself and your comrades safe. You can't be an outlier there, like, in social protest or in social action where stuff is hot and heated and you don't know the protocols, so no headless activity. Be informed, be ready, be prepared for whatever you're getting yourself into. And then look, life is for living. So you got to get out there and you got to do the thing. You can't go and climb in the hole and wait for it to be over. But you could postpone decisions. It's just like June, you know what I mean? Like while there's the triple conjunction with Venus and Mars and Ketu, because Mars and Ketu are what's 2 months long. Venus, Mars, and Ketu is like the month of June. So, something real passionate shows up for you. Could be passionate in any aspect of your life, right? Something super passionate shows up for you. You could give it a month. You can make a decision on it in July. Just kind of let that Venus aspect shift out, because all of a sudden you might not be in love with it, whatever it is. Could be about a business partnership. Could be about a spiritual teacher. Could be about a lump of money coming your way, right? It could be about a marriage partnership, Could be about some like big opportunity that fell into your lap, a big purchase of something, Could be about like whatever the themes are, whatever is associated with the houses, whatever occupies, whatever houses occupy for you, Aries and Leo. So like I'm looking at that kid, I have an exalted sun in Aries, like, oh my God. I need to get by the water and stay there. Just immersion every day. Woo, but like work with the fire within, the fire alchemy like this. And I mean, for me personally, I'm in the midst of a spiritual pilgrimage with the great goddess, the great mother, and so like, what a beautiful invitation, for that relationship to go so deeply and so passionately. There are so many expressions of love like this. And we're actually doing this course right now, Sex, Death, and Alchemy Relationships. So it's what a perfect timing. Because it's this multitude of dimensions of relationship, this multitude of dimensions of relating, and so it's so easy to be prescriptive, just like, well, don't have sex, puritanical, don't have sex, just, love God or love the prophet, whatever. It's usually a Jesus thing, not so much the other Abrahamic faiths, like that. oh, we okay, and that's like the principle, that's the guru principle, or the Christ consciousness, that's supposed to be the, like, the vow of the nun, to be the bride of Christ kind of thing, like, okay, yeah, so there's that kind of relationship, that's a principled relationship, or the Christ consciousness, the God consciousness, the divine consciousness vibe. And then there's like the human to human vibe. There's also a nature vibe. Like, have you ever just like been in intercourse with nature? Equally possible. Our ancestors did it all the time, you know? And don't think so literally. So like boinking a pond or a tree. No, there's like, there's a melding of bodies, you know? And there's also guru principle, in these dimensions of relationship. That could be a guru principle energetically. It could be a living guru. Oh, now we're kind of more into the tantras end of things. So like this is the month to be in this course, like sex, death, and alchemy relationship. That is that conjunction. It is fire and is passion. What's your impetus? What's guiding you? What's your focus? What's your intention? What do you want to cultivate in all this passion energy for yourself, in your toolkit? And how do we heal? How do we do all that and enrich the relationship to intuition, sensation, and feeling? That's Rohini. So we're being blessed right now with this beautiful fertile moon to do that kind of cultivation. What do you want to cultivate in there? That's your big question at this moon. No. So that's kind of that's the gist of the moon vibes this round. And keep your head, keep your cool, have fun. All three eyes open. What's your intention? What are you going to plant? This is the richness. And here we are in the dark moon bit. So we have the time to plant the seed. You have like the next 24 hours, from this moment in time. That is exact at 11 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll pause this moon download here with collective download and historical download and geopolitical download. And we can feel into some other things. I think lately we've been hitting the pause button on the recording, which just feels a little nicer. So if you're watching this as a recording, I don't know, send us your questions or your comments or something.